Backyard Paradise online at landisbc.com, but he's not in his own backyard paradise right now. Adam Schefter is live from a hotel. Schefty, where are we at today?
I am sitting at the front desk in the lobby of the Eagles Hotel in Massachusetts on assignment here. We rolled in last night, and it's something that's going to run on ESPN here in the coming months at some point in time. I guess I could tell you.
Yes.
The thing is, it's a surprise to the players.
Oh, well, then don't screw it.
In about an hour.
Oh.
So someone may be listening, and then word could filter back, and then maybe I'll tell you more about it next week.
Okay.
This, right? But I'll just say this. We got into the hotel last night and checked into the hotel. It was about 11:15. I was standing there in the lobby, and then all of a sudden, Kenny Pickett walked in, Lane Johnson, Cam Jurgens, a bunch of the guys, talking to them in the lobby last night. It was kind of fun. So we're sitting here this morning. All the guys are walking by, going to breakfast, doing their thing. And we got something going on here at 9 a.m., and that'll run on ESPN at some point. I don't know when this season, but it'll run, and I'll tell you all about it next week because I know it's going to be memorable. How about that?
The preseason's been memorable so far for the Eagles in that, honestly, Philly, which is usually looking to pick apart the carcass, seems to be pretty positive on how the offense is looking smooth and, honestly, how the defense is coming together under Vic Fangio. What are you hearing, and have you had a chance to put your ear to the ground on any of this Eagles stuff?
I was just with Vic. Literally,
That's awesome.
Hey, I got to go call into the radio show, Vic. So, you know what I just discovered about Vic? We were talking a lot about golf just now. I didn't realize that he's as big a golfer as he is. So I will open it up. Anybody that wants to take Vic Fangio out golfing there to the great courses in Pennsylvania and Philadelphia area, I'm sure he'd be open to that right now.
Sounds perfect.
Yeah, because I said, where do you play? He said, wherever takes me out. I said, okay, well, there you go, Vic. I think they feel pretty good about this team. They're pretty happy with where it's at right now. They feel like it's progressing. There's still some work that they got to get done here, that they'll be doing here, obviously. Going up against the Patriots, again today, and then the game tomorrow night. Short preseason week. They get those games, especially the week of joint practices, don't really mean much of anything. That's a game for the backup of the backups. Like, that's what that is after the joint practice work where the coaches can control it more. So we'll see how that goes. But, yeah, by all accounts, they feel like they've played pretty well against the Patriots, shined, whatever that's worth, right? Who knows? But I think they feel pretty good about this team right now.
All right, so how's the morale of the team? You got to talk to some of the players. We've obviously moved on from last year. Last week we did talk to you about the article that came out from Tim McManus and Jeremy Fowler, but I told you, John and I were using that as a positive, that it seemed like everything is done. It's now out in the open. It's almost like a weight is off our shoulders. We now know what happened. So how was the morale? Some of the players that you got to speak to so far last night and this morning?
They do feel good about this team. But, again, I guarantee if I went around to 32 camps, most everybody would feel good about the team. I was on the phone with somebody from the Patriots last week, and they were insisting to me, I think we're going to be a little bit better than people think. I'm like, okay, well, we'll see about that. They might be. I don't know. We'll see. But my point is, if New England's saying that, everybody's saying that. So if I walked in here last night, and I'm talking to some of the guys, and I see some of the guys this morning, I'm talking to them, and somebody said, boy, I don't know, this camp, I don't know, this team's got some questions. You don't hear that in August. It's not really what you hear too much. Everything is more upbeat, more positive, more promising, more optimistic. People feel good about things. So I wouldn't expect to hear anything different. But to that point, it was exactly what I did here. This team's really good. Like the guys last night were saying, Saquon, wow, like better than we thought. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Again, I think those are the things you expect to hear. That's the exciting part about training camp from a fan's perspective, from the media's perspective. You want to hear about guys that are shining and impressing and making their mark. And, the players, they don't love the training camp element of it, but they can recognize that, a player like Saquon, in their minds, is probably better than was advertised.
How great is Howie Roseman's trade of moving off of Hassan Reddick looking today. When we look back at it too, tell me if I'm reading too much into something. I went back and I just checked. I didn't see any of his Eagle teammates saying, like, when he left, "We're going to miss you, bro. Hate losing you. Thanks for the run. Can't miss it." Usually you see that when guys leave teams. Am I reading too much into it?
Do you? I don't know. I don't see too much of that.
Well, I usually see best wishes to guys when they leave. Go get your bag. Go get your bag. You deserve it. Anything like that. It didn't seem like that. Very quiet.
Well, I didn't pay attention to the social reaction when Hassan was traded, but I would just say this, like, Howie Roseman and Joe Douglas are good friends. And, I think that they're making a trade that they both believe at that time is going to work out for both sides. And the Hassan Reddick situation is just, I think it's unfortunate for the Jets and Hassan Reddick together, because he goes in there after the trade and he goes and takes his physical with the team, and he goes to the introductory press conference and speaks highly about the Jets organization. And that was the last that the Jets saw and heard from him. That was it.
And he lied. He said that I'm going to be here. Whatever works out, I'm going to give my best because that's who I am as a man.
Right. I'm happy.
Yes.
And, right, whatever he said has not been the way it's worked out. Now, again, the Jets would say exactly what you said, John. And I think Hassan would say, well, at that point in time, the Jets told me something was going to get worked out. Of course I was behind them. Of course I was going to be happy because I thought it was going to work out. And since then, they haven't made me an offer at all. And I've watched the pass rush market explode. And I'm making $14.25 million, and the top pass rushers in the league are making more than double that. So I'm not happy, and I'm not showing up. Now, again, do I think that the situation could have been different? Yeah. Like, it shouldn't have gotten to this from both sides' standpoint, in my mind. The Jets should have been more proactive about getting a deal done, or at least finding something that worked for Hassan Reddick. Hassan Reddick should have been more willing, I think, to show up and work with them. But this is where they went. And frankly, it didn't work out for either side to date. So the question that I come back to is, what do they do to solve this? Because right now it's a game of chicken. Who's going to blink first? Jets say, we're not doing anything with you not being here. He's like, I'm not coming there. You're not doing anything. So there has to be some sort of Madeleine Albright figure that can step in and broker a peace agreement between these two sides. Right?
Good reference.
I mean, yeah, it's unfortunate for both because neither side comes out ahead in this, and it's very messy. And honestly, somebody who lives in New York or around Jets fans, I think there's something that always happens with the Jets like this. They don't need any more things like this, and here it goes again. So we'll see if the two sides can figure out anything, but the Eagles moved on, and they knew this was coming, and that's how it worked out.
Speaking of Adam Schefter on the Comcast Business Hotline, Schefter, I do want to ask you something non-Eagle related, even though there might be Eagles involved. How possible, I know we're looking 4 years down the line now, how possible could there be NFL players playing in the flag football portion of the Olympics in L.A. in 2028?
It's a great question. And look, I guess basketball players, they're taking risks when they go out there. And I was in Hawaii. I was outside the hotel in Hawaii when the Patriots' first-round draft pick, Robert Edwards, coming up his incredible rookie year, basically blew out his knee playing football in the sand, flag football in the sand. And so, on the one hand, I say, I'll bet some of these players would love to take part in the festivities. Just think if flag football somehow were a part of the Paris Olympics, would those guys have loved hanging with the basketball players, and the basketball players loved hanging with the football players, and all the things I think there's an element to that is absolutely true. But then I say, would any NFL head coach, general manager want their guy taking part in that. Well, first of all, you got training camp.
Right, exactly.
Like
it's happening during camp.
Yeah, so right then and there, that's not happening. The timing doesn't work. They're not adjusting the timing of Olympic flag football. So that makes it, I guess, a moot point. But, I mean, it's fun to think about what it would be like and who would want to partake. But I don't know.
I don't think people would. I don't think people would go for it. Like I know there are some NFL players that are pushing for it that would love to be a part of it. Jalen Hurts has been vocal about it, wanting to be a part of it. I just don't see how Jeffrey Lurie would say, "Okay, don't do training camp."
Yeah, you heard Jalen. Well, the Bears let Jonathan Owens go for a week to go,
just to go watch, watch his wife.
Watch his wife. So, but yeah, again. That's Jonathan Owens, a safety and special teams guy. You're not talking about the quarterback.
Right.
So I don't see it taking the league by storm. I don't rule it out, but the timing of it makes it a little bit more problematic, I think, obviously.
Shefty, you're the man. We appreciate it as always. Make sure next week you give us
Yeah, I want to hear about this.
A little something about this special event that's going on.
Or text us after.
No. I maybe you want it's 8:15. Like, I don't think I'm giving it.
Okay, not going to give anything away.
Well, no. I mean, I better just lay low for 1 week.
All right.
I'll share.
Well, that's a good tease. That means people have to be listening next week. They already do, Shefty, but now they have to be listening next week to find out what's going on at the Eagles Team Hotel in Foxborough.
Thanks, Shefty.
Adam, we appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
There he is, Adam Schefter on the Comcast.